Hey everyone, let's get right down to business and ask the big question: is a recession coming in the near future? Despite everyone's attempts, we can't actually predict a recession. However, we can look at the facts, such as the inflation rate is currently at a 30-year high, oil prices has risen over 70% during the past year, world economies are becoming even more strained by COVID-19, and the Russia-Ukraine war is developing into a much more serious matter. So what does this mean for us? Do we need to stop investing, or should we invest more? Don't worry, because we are going to go over why a recession might happen, as well as the investment strategy that I'll use while facing the possible recession. First, let's discuss why a recession is possible, or at the very least why a market decline could happen. The New Zealand inflation rate has hit a high of 5.9%, which is the highest it's been since 1990. And the oil prices have risen by 70% over the past year. Basically, what this means is the New Zealand dollar is losing its value at a rapid rate. Another not so great sign was in March 2021 quarter, the gross domestic product growth was down by 3.6%. However, a good sign is in the December quarter it was up 3%, which is an improvement. Another fact worth noting is as of June 2021, New Zealand's net debt rose from 3.2 billion to 51.6 billion, which is absolutely insane. Rapid inflation combined with rising gas prices, not so good GDP growth, and dramatically increasing debt all tend to point to one side: a possible recession and market crash. So, we've covered what's going on inside of New Zealand. However, New Zealand is a small country and can often be influenced by outside forces such as the giants being America, China, India, etc. So now let's look at what key events have been happening in the rest of the world which might point towards a recession. The two biggest events you can probably think of that are happening at this very moment is the Russia-Ukraine war and the COVID-19 pandemic, both of which do not bode well for us. The Russia-Ukraine war has been causing massive turmoil in the world markets, which often affects the New Zealand market, and we all know what the pandemic has done. Another negative sign is the fact America is heading straight for recession. If that was to happen, trade between New Zealand and the US would become even more interrupted, which would ultimately affect our markets. Now that we know some of the main factors pointing to a recession and market crash, you might be thinking, this crash is obviously guaranteed. However, at the end of the day, we can't predict anything. Instead, we can only prepare for all outcomes. So now I'll share my investing strategy that I think is best for the potential tougher times ahead. The two things you should do if a recession happens are dollar cost averaging and avoiding overly high risk investments. Let me explain. It's a fool's game trying to predict what the lowest price point will be for stocks, crypto, or whatever you're investing in, as you're almost guaranteed to fail. However, dollar cost averaging is the practice of investing small amounts of money on a regular schedule, possibly weekly or monthly, that's up to you. This way, you are less likely to miss buying the lowest point, and you can also minimize any potential losses by not purchasing your investments in one massive go. Now the second part of the strategy is avoiding overly high risk investments, which is relatively self-explanatory. However, it is up to you to decide what fits your risk profile in a crash. Maybe crypto is too risky, or even stocks, that's up to you to decide. My final piece of advice when it comes to investing is that if this crash does happen, do not panic sell your investments just because you have made unrealized losses. You should only sell if you think the investment is not right for you or you have a justified reason to get rid of it. Thank you all so much for watching. Now you know the reasons for the possible recession as well as how you should invest if a market crash happens. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like and subscribe and check out one of my other videos. Have an amazing day and I wish you luck in your investing adventures. Bye bye!